two pieces of paper here, one of them taped down, and I'm going to be working on this one dry, leaving the paper dry. This one I'm going to wet the paper, and I'm going to work on a wet surface. So to start with, I want to wet the back. Actually, I believe this is the back. So I'm going to wet the back, and I'm just using a sponge and clean water, and I want to put on water everywhere. When you're doing this at home, you can tilt the paper to make sure you haven't missed any spots. I see a dry spot right there. So you get everything wet, and then you turn it back over, and you can wet the front. Once I have this wet, I want to let it sit for a few minutes and let that water soak into it. So that's why I'm doing it first, and then I'm going to leave it while I paint on this one. What I'm going to do here is a very simplified approach to painting. I'm going to use one color, and I'm using raw umber, but you can use burnt sienna, burnt umber, neutral tint, Payne's gray, anything that's fairly neutral in color. So I'm using raw umber, and this is grams raw umber. And I'm going to limit the number of brush strokes that I allow myself to use. First thing I'm going to do before I put anything on the paper is to just put in some drops of water. And that's just going to help me stay nice and loose, and it's going to, take some of the paint and mix with some of the paint that I put down. And now I'm grabbing my biggest brush. I'm going to do this without any sketching. This is basically like a warm-up exercise. It can really help you gain more confidence in your brush strokes, and it's great if you're doing this at home to do a series of these, so you can have several of them taped down and just work on one and then go to the next one and go to the next one, and decide ahead of time how many brush strokes you're going to allow yourself to use. I'm going to allow myself 6 brush strokes to do this garlic, and maybe I won't need that many, or maybe I will need all 6 of them and wish I had said that I could use 8 or 10. But give yourself a limit before you start. 6 is a good number to start with because it's not too limiting, but it definitely makes you think about how you're going to use your brush strokes. So it teaches you how to visualize the process before you begin. So before I start, I really need to think about how I can get that brush stroke. This first one especially is going to be important in establishing the painting. So I visualize here for a minute, and I'm thinking I can have it start right up in here. So once I start, then I need to be painting with confidence. I'm going to push that brush down, and then I'm going to bring it and pull it back up right along there. That's nice. So there we have one brush stroke. Now for the second one, you need to think about how I can get that shape to translate, the shape of the garlic. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go like this, and then actually bring this around like that. Leave that. See, I almost went back in there. I don't want to use up another brush stroke now. So we're at 1 brush stroke, 2 brush strokes. And my third one, again, I need to think about the shape of that garlic. Okay, we'll call that 3. So I'm halfway there. We have these dark things coming down here at the bottom, and it might be nice to use a dry brush on, so I'm going to take a towel and dry this off a little bit. Maybe give it a bad hair day look, and see if I can use this to put in some of those the dry roots that grow out from the bottom, like that. There we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to fix this a little bit. 5. I've only got one more. So I'm guessing I'll take this down. Actually, I may take this all the way up to here, like that, and pull it down, like that. There we go. 6 brush strokes. So try this at home. It's a lot harder than it looks, because as soon as you do a brush stroke, you're tempted to go back in and do another one right next to it. But really limiting yourself to the number of brush strokes that you use is a good exercise. It's a good warm-up exercise, and it really will help you to visualize the process.